At a restaurant, the enchanting Lin Wang meets Yang Yi, her husband's mistress, at the start of the story. We must go back 2 months in order to comprehend how this situation came to be. At that time, Lin Wang was a cheerful and carefree housewife, living in a luxurious mansion with her adorable daughter Chia and her rich husband Wei Yan, who is the CEO of a major technological business. She appeared to have the ideal existence. Regretfully, nothing in life is flawless, and this instance was no different. When Lin Wang discovered an expensive earring amid her clothing, her lovely married life started to fall apart. It belonged to her husband's mistress and secretary. Lin Wang searched the internet and found a photo of a woman wearing the identical earrings while sporting a gorgeous manicure. She was determined to find out, so she went to her husband's office and looked closely at the manicures of all the women who worked there, but she couldn't find any matches. Lin Wang conducted some research after he left work early and discovered that her husband had booked a hotel room under her name. Lin Wang unintentionally ran into Yang Yi, who got the same manicure as the picture, in a yoga session the following morning. Lin Wang resorted to Jiang Shi, her best friend, rather than her husband's mistress. After learning everything, her friend counseled her against divorcing her spouse in spite of the betrayal because doing so would cause her ideal, stable life and financial security to fall apart. Before long, things got even more difficult. To Lin Wang's dismay, Wei Yan purchased a villa for his parents with all of the money saved for their daughter's schooling. Every day got worse than the last, and one evening Lin Wang discovered that her husband was still seeing his mistress because his clothes smelt like the perfume of another woman. The following morning, Lin Wang, fed up with the situation, met with Yang Yi and requested that she leave her husband alone. The mistress firmly declined, claiming to be in love with Wei Yan. When Lin Wang got home later, she discovered a delivery with a stunning and sophisticated dress for a function that was coming up. But when she saw how big it was, she knew it was for her husband's mistress, not for her. In spite of everything, Lin Wang went to the evening party, dressed elegantly, and pretended to be the happiest lady alive. She felt uncomfortable and remorseful about giving up her career to become a housewife in the midst of diligent and prosperous people. Still feeling guilty and self-conscious, she left the party early. The following night, Lin Wang was unable to sleep due to her daughter Chia's body breaking out in a rash. In a panic, Lin Wang called her husband to let him know and rushed her to the hospital. He was on a date with his mistress, though, so he didn't respond. Mother and daughter came home at morning, but Wei Yan was still gone. Lin Wang attacked him when he eventually showed up, accusing him of failing their daughter at a time when the support of both parents was essential. Following the contentious dispute, Lin Wang contacted renowned attorney Su Ji and sold her engagement ring for $700. In addition to asking Su Ji for a divorce, Lin Wang expressed her worry that her lack of a job and income would make it difficult for her to get custody of her daughter. Wei Yan had already spent everything, so even if Lin Wang might be able to use the assets acquired during the marriage, she would have nothing left over in the event of a divorce. Su Ji suggested that she hold off on filing for divorce until Wei Yan had acquired further assets and Lin Wang had found a respectable career. The encounter between Lin Wang and Yang Yi occurred shortly after all of this. In order to agree to a divorce and leave her husband alone, Lin Wang urged Yang Yi to assist her in obtaining custody of her daughter and returning some of her assets at the meeting. But Yang Yi is not prepared to compromise and won't give up the rich man's money. Yang Yi is struggling financially and belongs to the lowest level of society, living in a filthy, virtually abandoned apartment with her younger brother, who frequently plays computer games. All of her pricey jewelry, handbags, and clothing are actually knockoffs. Yang Yi would never give up anything that Wei Yan possesses. Lin Wang looks for work the following morning. She becomes depressed when multiple calls go unanswered. When she spots a man in need of a cab, everything changes. When Lin Wang offers to help, she decides to become a cab driver after learning she is good at it. In order to get a contract, Wei Yan goes to a business party that evening and offers Yang Yi a promotion in exchange for her assistance. Although Yang Yi enthusiastically accepts her boss's gift, she is coerced into drinking by the males at the party. One of the men tries to take Yang Yi to his place after she gets too inebriated and becomes helpless. Thankfully, Lin Wang notices and brings her husband's mistress back to her apartment. Yang Yi is incensed when she finds out the following morning that Wei Yan promoted a classmate rather than her. When she confronts Wei Yan, he maintains that her colleague is more worthy and qualified. He promises to elevate her shortly, but Yang Yi starts to question Wei Yan's reliability. In the meantime, Lin Wang unintentionally runs across Gu Shu, a former classmate and buddy who is now a prosperous businessman. Gu Shu, however, conceals both his achievement and the fact that he has loved Lin Wang since their first encounter. Yang Yi's life gets harder and harder at the same time. Although she rents an apartment, she lacks the funds to cover the rent. She becomes even more apprehensive when Wei Yan ultimately elevates her and moves her to a different apartment. Yang Yi consents to assist Lin Wang a few days later in return for a 20% cut of the money that is recovered. They start by looking for proof of Wei Yan's adultery. Yang Yi recommends meeting Wei Yan at a museum to accomplish this, where they share a passionate kiss in addition to admiring artworks. Lin Wang strikes her husband and his mistress after spotting them. Then, claiming the money and possessions that are legally hers because of their marriage, she starts blackmailing Wei Yan. Wei Yan begins to separate himself from Yang Yi and ignore her after that day, not returning her calls. Furious, Yang Yi purchases a bunch of flowers for herself and poses as a popular person in an attempt to incite jealousy in Wei Yan. Lin Wang's father, meantime, breaks his leg and is admitted to the hospital. Lin Wang observes during their visit that Gu Shu is caring for her father more effectively than her spouse ever had. When Wei Yan notices this, he chastises Lin Wang and requests that she give up her job as a cab driver so that she can concentrate on housework. When Lin Wang informs her parents about Wei Yan's request, they fiercely object, arguing that it is unjust to take away her independence given that she also has to take care of her daughter. Lin Wang makes the decision to work for a prominent corporation after realizing she can't afford to squander any more time. She goes to a number of interviews, but because she has no prior work experience, the executives of these tech companies question her qualifications. Wei Yan and Lin Wang go to a party with their daughter a few days later. Lin Wang becomes nervous as Chia begins to itch during the event. When Yang Yi shows up to the party wearing a stunning dress, her anxiety increases. Yang Yi tries to attract Wei Yan's attention, but he turns her down. He promises Lin Wang that he won't ever betray her again when he gets home. Wei Yan sends $500,000 for their daughter's schooling as evidence of how serious he is. Yang Yi and Lin Wang get together the following evening to talk about what will happen next. Yang Yi adores her spouse and will stop at nothing to be with him, despite Lin Shuang's advice to pursue her own happiness. Meanwhile, the situation in Weiman's business starts to deteriorate, impacting not just the businessman but also his colleagues. Information eventually leaks, resulting in a significant financial loss. Lin Wang, who is aware that her husband is responsible for the leak, seeks Yang Yi for assistance in gathering proof that will reveal the dishonest businessman. The same day, Lin Wang learns that she has been employed by a corporation as an assistant. She rushes there and finds out it's the work of Goe, an old friend. Weiman, in the meantime, extends an apology to Yang Yi and vows never to deceive her again when he invites her to a fancy restaurant. In contrast to his wife, the unsuspecting mistress takes his word for it and removes all evidence of the data leak, making sure that no one is aware that Weiman was responsible. Another problem results from Lin Shuang's ineffective attempts to persuade Yang Yi to see reason, since she is too overcome by love. Yang Yi's blind joy doesn't last long. Her lover urges her to covertly videotape his business partner in order to expose him a few days later. Weiman's strategy succeeds, but every employee knows who set up one of the business people. Yang Yi is extremely wounded when her co-workers start ignoring her the following day. Lin Shuang, meanwhile, is walking in the park when she spots arrows and pink balloons pointing her in the right direction. Hundreds of balloons surround her as she follows the indications to the campus, where she meets her spouse. It turns out that they got married 10 years ago today. Weiman has arranged a celebration surprise, bending the knee to present a ring and offer to rekindle their vows. Yang Yi visits Lin Wang to talk about the event after viewing photos of it online. The businessman's wife acknowledges that she accepted the proposal merely to keep things seeming like they were dating. Yangi goes on a date with her beau at a fancy restaurant that evening after receiving a gift from him. The lovers declare their love for one another after dinner and a few drinks, but Yangi starts to see that Wayman is only taking advantage of her innocence and unquestioning faith. Yangi is eventually persuaded of the businessman's deceit the following morning. Wayman does nothing to shield her when the business finds out she erased crucial data. Yangi's brother tells Lin Wang that her sister hasn't come home, so they go in search of her. They discover Yangi intoxicated in a pub, daydreaming about getting retribution with the wealthy man who deceived her. Yangi makes the decision to support Lin Wang and makes a commitment to permanently destroy Wayman. Yangi responds angrily when Wayman later offers to help her find a new job, vowing to make him regret his treatment of her. When Yangi shows up at work the following morning, cheerful and well-dressed, many of her coworkers take notice. She is forced to pack her things and leave the office permanently after Wayman formally terminates her short while later. When two bandits burst into the home and demand that Wayman's father pay his debt, Lin Wang, her daughter, and her husband's parents are on vacation. When Lin Wang's father unexpectedly becomes ill and is taken to the hospital, her parents attempt to step in. Joyce, a new hire, starts working for Wayman's company that same day. She is a strong-willed, attractive woman who draws admiration from everyone, including her new boss. Wayman helps Joyce whenever she needs it, as it is soon discovered that she is the daughter of a wealthy man. Although Lin Wang and Yangi are not yet close friends, their bond is growing deeper in the interim. Jai, Yangi's younger brother, tries to win Lin Wang over after falling in love with her. Taking a position as a real estate agent, he takes care of Lin Wang and her daughter accordingly. Yangi becomes enraged when Wayman bumps into her and treats her disrespectfully. Later, when Yangi meets Lin Wang, she admits her anger for Wayman but worries that getting even could damage her reputation. Wayman and Gui Shu had a meeting shortly afterward to talk about possible cooperation between respective businesses. Yangi, a seasoned professional, is invited to the meeting by Gui. Gui demands that Wayman's business complete the deal as soon as possible during the negotiations, failing which the relationship will end. Wayman invites Yangi to come back to the organization and assist in fixing the issue after realizing how challenging his position is. Joyce buys Wayman a cake for his birthday when they meet a little later. Unaware of Wayman's true character, Joyce starts to feel sorry for him as they become friends via polite talk. Yangi tells Lin Wang that Wayman has a new mistress, Joyce. A few days later, Lin Wang is unsurprised and unaffected by the news, knowing Wayman's manipulating nature. She understands that Joyce is only a pawn in Wayman's games, just like everyone else. Jai finds the confidence to tell Lin Wang how he feels that same day. She suggests they stay friends, but she rejects him, pointing out that they are not the same age. After starting her new job a few days later, Lin Wang is first anxious but soon adjusts and becomes close to her coworkers. As time passes, Lin Wang and Yangi come to see that their mutual animosity for Wayman has bonded them and that a true friendship has grown. One evening, Gui admits that he was influenced by Lin Wang when they were in college. Her genius inspired him to pursue achievement. Wayman and Joyce spend time together as they set out on a work trip the following morning. During this moment, Lin Wang signs the divorce papers but learns from her lawyer that her husband still has a solid chance of getting custody of their daughter. She reluctantly chooses to put off getting a divorce till there is a greater chance. Joyce's father finds out about her relationship with Wayman when she returns from the trip and bans it, but Joyce disobeys him since she is incredibly in love with Wayman. A few days later, Wayman and Joyce make an appearance together at a formal gathering. Everyone is shocked when Yangi and Gui show up as a couple in love. When Joyce and Yangi wear identical gowns, tensions increase. After the celebration, Wayman tries to reconnect with Yangi, who then takes center stage at work. But this time, Yangi rejects him because she is smarter than before. Lin Wang, meantime, has pleasant recollections of Gui from college and acknowledges that he was a different person then. Lin Wang and Yangi break into Wayman's cell phone the following morning in an attempt to find proof of his dubious business dealings. According to the lawyer's analysis of the documents, Wayman has been diverting money from family assets in order to keep it from his wife. He did this illegally, and Siggy is prepared to present this proof in court. Joyce tells Wayman she loves him in the evening, but he tells her he's married and rejects her. The girl takes this personally, gets wasted, and heads to the closest karaoke bar, where her father discovers her. Joyce, who is crying uncontrollably, begs her parents to speak with Wayman and persuade him to date her, but they decline, believing that their daughter is worthy of better and that he is a nasty man. The girl becomes erratic and sobs as she leaves the house because she disagrees with her parents' viewpoint. She encounters Wayman out of the blue. The businessman rents a hotel room after learning about the circumstances and attempting to shield Joyce from the rain, but the girl kisses him, leading to the lovers spending the night together. Joyce keeps putting pressure on her parents after the incident, and she soon tells Wayman that she has convinced them to work for his company. When Yang and Lin Wang learn of all of this, they are unsurprised that a wealthy and attractive man was able to trick another unsuspecting female. In the evening, Joyce's mother warns her daughter to stay away from the deceptive Wayman, but the girl is insistent and vows that she is willing to do anything to be near this man. The girl's mother does not plan to continue the conversation, but Wayman overhears it and expresses his love and desire to be with Joyce. Joyce later inquires about the man's plans to divorce Lin Wang, and he responds that he will do so shortly, but requests that their relationship remain confidential to prevent anyone from interfering with their happiness. Wayman announces his intention to divorce Lin Wang to his parents a few days later when he presents Joyce to them. They support their son in spite of the shock, and it appears to be a deciding factor. When Lin Wang can't pay at the store, she phones her husband the very following morning. He acknowledges that he disabled her card because she had a lot of costs and deliberately limited her access to the money to prevent her from being a spender. Despite her husband's actions, Lin Wang is pleased since she gets appointed to oversee the company's next project. Although the girl is moved by this trust and expresses gratitude to Gushi, he does not believe he has done anything particularly noteworthy because he has no doubts about her skills. Lin Wang finds out at night that her spouse used their joint funds to purchase a home. The girl unintentionally runs across her husband at a gathering the following day. The wife chooses to embrace her husband after finding out that Joyce goes with him, which makes his new mistress envious. Joyce leaves in anger, but Wayman soon shows up to comfort her and let her know about the surprise. The pair purchases wedding rings at a jewelry store the following morning. Little Chow spots the father and his mistress here, sobs resentfully and collapses, landing her in the hospital. Meeting at the hospital, husband and wife dispute, and Wayman ultimately offers a divorce. He claims that he would be the guardian of his daughter because he thinks Lin Wang is not a decent mother and ought to leave them alone. He sells the home shortly after evicting his wife from the flat. Lin Wang is enraged by this, since she has to find a new residence. Although she tries to speak with her spouse, he believes he made the proper decision because they are divorcing and shouldn't live together any longer. Fortunately for Lin Wang, Gushi finds a comfortable house for her at a decent price, which addresses the housing issue. Jai learns a short later that the company she works for is collapsing because of fraud. The man therefore owes the victims a substantial amount of money as moral reparations. Yang, in desperation, approaches a co-worker to borrow money. Bo immediately agrees, but because he is impoverished and does not have a lot of money, he subsequently reconsiders. Wayman decides to meet with Gushi after finding out that his ex-wife is in charge of his new business venture. Gushi declines the ex-husband's request to remove Lin Wang from the project because he believes in the girl's strength and trust. Lin Wang learns the following morning that the project contains significant defects that could cause their business a lot of issues. The girl chooses to step down after realizing that, as the project manager, she is accountable for this. Later on, Lin Wang finds out that her daughter was removed from school without her consent by her previous relatives. Lin Wang meets with her husband and demands to know Chow's location in an effort to locate her daughter. The spouse won't be honest, but he says if Lin Wang signs the divorce papers without getting paid a dime, he will let them see each other again. After discovering all of this, Yang makes the decision to meet with Joyce in order to inform her of Wayman's true nature. Similar to Joyce, she has been the businessman's mistress for a considerable amount of time and is aware of his capacity for deceit and treachery. Joyce does not trust Yang's convincing speech, and she meets with her father in the evening. But due to her relationship with Wayman, he rejects his daughter. A short while later, the girl confronts the businessman and, during a fight, tells him that he has 1 month to file for divorce or else they will break up and he'll have serious issues. A few days later, Wayman plans to have dinner with Joyce for their engagement, but Lin Wang interrupts, telling everyone in attendance that her husband has abducted her daughter and won't let them to see each other. Everyone, including the owners of the business where Wayman works, soon learns about the incident. The board of directors chooses to impose monetary penalties. Joyce remains close to the man in spite of all the issues and arguments with her parents. In order to discuss their upcoming divorce, the couple soon meets with their attorneys. Most of all, Lin Wang wants to see her daughter, but Wayman will only let it if she surrenders all of her belongings. Lin Wang consents to visit Chao while knowing that she'll be impoverished, which leads to the couple's final formal divorce. All of their former co-workers join Lin Wang and Yingyi when they launch their own company shortly after. Joyce is pleased that Wayman is now solely hers. When the female reveals she is expecting, the man seems emotionless. Wayman advises somewhat delaying the celebration because they need to arrange a lavish wedding and do not now have the funds for it. Because he hasn't paid for the house he promised to give his parents, the man also has a falling out with them. A short while later, Lin Wang formally launches a modest technology business with the goal of simplifying the lives of women. Lin Wang and Gushi's connection keeps getting better, and they quickly become close friends. During an evening stroll one day, Lin Wang discovers that Gushi is not only a great person but also a man she enjoys spending time with. The man rejects Yangyi's proposal to win Lin Wang, claiming he has no feelings for her, which is untrue. Gushi gives Lin Wang some guidance the following morning so the girl can advance the business. The man cooks Lin Wang lunch and helps persuade a well-known coder to join her company as he spends more and more time with her. Wayman and his daughter visit the mall a few days later. Chao unexpectedly tells her father that Lin Wang and Yingyi are closest friends as they are out for a walk. As a result, the businessman understands that the girls plotted all of his issues and chose to get revenge on him. In the meantime, Wayman's new fiancée attempts to disparage his ex-wife, and Lin Wang meets Joyce. Lin Wang, however, urges her to be extra cautious with her ex-husband because he is unreliable and graciously thanks her for helping her get rid of him. Joyce and Wayman soon get ready for a lavish wedding, but the girl's parents don't care about it and don't pick up their daughter's phone. Joyce eventually makes the decision to call off the wedding, but it's too late because the groom's parents show up for the festivities. Her parents also show up to observe the wedding from a distance. The party appears to be going well, but eventually things start to go wrong. If Wayman attempts to harm their daughter, Joyce's parents vow to destroy her husband. When the groom's mother learns of this, a major scandal breaks out. At the same time, Lin Shuang is depressed about her company since she has come to the realization that being a CEO is much harder and more stressful than she had imagined. The poor girl can no longer bear the pressure and sobs in front of Gushuya. He chooses to invest in Lin Shuang's business in an effort to help her out financially. Wayman fights with Joyce, who locks herself in the bathtub in anger when his parents soon decide to move into their son's home. Wayman vows to get his parents a new home because this causes serious issues in the home. Lin Shuang, meanwhile, is frustrated that no one is interested in investing in her business. She finds out a few days later that a business has indicated that it would be willing to collaborate and invest. Lin Shuang is ecstatic because she believes her diligence and hard work have finally paid off. Gushuya makes the decision to tell Lin Shuang he loves her one evening, but a phone call cuts them off in the middle of their chat. He makes another attempt to communicate his emotions the following day, even making a little birthday cake. Gushuya is upset with himself because he lacks the bravery. Joyce discovers her husband is giving away critical information to other businesses for his personal gain when she overhears their chat that evening. She confronts him because she fears legal repercussions, but Wayman brushes her worries aside. Lin Shuang meets a professor at a university conference the following morning. She is surprised to learn that Gushuya is lecturing there. When questioned about his personal life throughout the session, he admits to having been in love with a woman for 15 years. When Lin Shuang realizes he is referring to her, she is startled. Gushuya finds the confidence to tell Lin Shuang that he loves her after the conference. After her challenging divorce, she is hesitant to enter into a new relationship and requests some time to consider her options. After sharing everything with her close friend Yang Yi, Lin Wang is advised to follow her heart in order to prevent regrets in the future. Wayman, meantime, ignores Joyce's calls and doesn't get home until the wee hours of the morning after getting wasted at a party. Despite her fury, Joyce displays worry and care for him when he finally shows up. But while intoxicated, Wayman murmurs that Lin Wang was a great wife. Joyce is so mad that she throws a glass of water in his face and heads to her parents' house. A technical review meeting is arranged a few days later to evaluate the performance of different inventions. Although Lin Wang's business wins at first, they end up coming in last, which upsets her and boosts Wayman's pride. Lin Wang's squad is adamant about succeeding and decides to put in even more effort to reach the top. At the same time, Wayman is forced to sign a prenuptial agreement by Joyce's parents, which guarantees that Joyce would own all of his assets and that she will inherit the majority of them in the event of a divorce. Lin Wang's business keeps expanding and attracting new sponsors. Although Lin Wang is still not prepared to move forward, her friendship with Guxuya also gets better, giving the impression that they would make a wonderful couple. As the police start looking into the fraud Wayman has perpetrated over the years, he finds himself in hot water. He begs Joyce's father for assistance in a desperate situation, but he declines, not wanting to take the chance of going to jail for him. Joyce eventually realizes his true nature and declines Wayman's request to step in. Wayman runs out, furious, saying he regrets marrying her. Joyce, devastated, goes into labor while pregnant. Her son is born at the hospital, and Lin Wang and Yang Yi, who happen to be nearby, assist her in getting there. Yang Yi records a discussion between Wayman and another businessman on her phone after learning of his fraudulent actions. Wayman demands that she remove the recording or risk going to jail after he discovers it. He is forced to leave as Yang Yi adamantly maintains her position. But when Joyce chooses to divorce Wayman and won't allow him to see their son, his problems only get worse. Joyce's powerful parents make sure he can't put any pressure on her in spite of his protests. Wayman visits a park in despair and remembers better days spent with his first wife and their daughter, Chao. Lin Wang ultimately responds yes to Guxuya the following morning. They form a contented family with Chao. Wayman observes from the sidelines and knows he has lost everything. He surrenders to the police out of a deep sense of regret in order to be held accountable for his misdeeds. Soon later, Lin Wang and Guxuya combine their companies to form a renowned technology corporation in addition to becoming a couple. Guxuya shocks Lin Wang by setting up a romantic scene and popping the question at one of their exhibitions. Lin Wang is so happy that she agrees without question.